In Russia made the first flight. Import substituted helicopter, Ansat with domestic VK650 engines. Our country created in record time a whole line of new engines, as well as airplanes and helicopters for them. What engines are those? At what stage is their production? And what will be developed? Next, we will tell about it. And also about the new hero of the week, immediately after a brief summary of positive news. Russian Aerospace Forces received a new transport aircraft Il-76 MD-90A at the Middle Nevsky shipyard. Laid Marine Minesweeper Project 12700. In Samara region, 2 passenger ships of the project MPCSL are laid. In the Leningrad region, first production of special types of paper opened in Russia, previously purchased in Europe. Engineering plastic production was established in Tomsk, previously purchased abroad. In Kaluga region, open production of polymer pipes. In the Sverdlovsk region, a large crushed stone plant. In the Amur region, production of mineral powder. In Saratov, production of mattresses. In Tambov, production of pet food. And silver and one bronze medal version, including with autopilot. Thus started the certification phase. Updated helicopter. Besides the motor, NSAT received new Russian onboard equipment, improved design using composite materials, screw and other systems. Upgrade, not only to get rid of foreign components, but also improve the characteristics of the machine. Engine VC650W, created by Russian engineers for a record 5 years, twice as fast as usual in world practice. But the most wonderful thing is, what is a universal? And will be installed not only on Ansat, but also on Mi-34M helicopters to 226T aircraft Yak-152 and drones, who used to fly on imported engines. So only one product. Give second life to a whole line of projects, frozen as a result of sanctions. In the week, Kazan helicopter plant launched a new production complex, Area 3000 SKU, which will increase production. Actively expanding production at other enterprises. Industry and start of certification tests of Ansat. Good reason for that, to see what stage. There are other projects. In addition to VC650 and recently started flight tests. Another one important engine, VK800, it is also universal and will be installed on aircraft. Regional Aviation, LMS 901 Baikal, the new Russian, Belarusian 19-seater twin-engine LMS 192, light, and also on the training aircraft UTS 800. VK800 also created in a short time, and a number of characteristics, such as mass and fuel consumption, he surpassed his main Czech American competitor motor H80100. Next in the line is VK1600. From multi-purpose helicopters to 62, also important development, because helicopter engines with a capacity of 1,200 to 600 horsepower before that in Russia did not produce. Next 2026. Should begin first flights to 62 with VK1600 and a new transmission. VK2500 is already serially mastered. Even more powerful engine, workhorse of Russian aviation, on which fly Mi-8 and Tu-52. In 2024, 700 such engines were produced, and production capacity continues to expand. So in the summer, in Ufa opened the Center of Aluminum Casting. Production capacity 355 T per year. Components are produced here, not only for the above engines, but also for PD series. She should be said separately. PD-14 series is already being produced. What we saw with our own eyes last year at Odk Enterprise. Perm engines. MS-21 aircraft with updated Russian systems. Complete certification. And are preparing for deliveries to airlines. Compared to American engine Pratt & Whitney 1431, which were previously installed on MS-21, RPD turned out to be 15% more economical in fuel consumption. 20% more economical in life cycle cost. Lighter and quieter, and most importantly, He is totally domestic. At the same time, design work continues to improve. Characteristics of PD-14, so even going into the series doesn't mean stopping his evolution. This year, the younger brother of PD-14, PD-8, is launched into the series. On it now, PAS certification tests. Updated superjets. Also first copies. These engines were recently shipped to Taganrog Aviation Plant for installation on amphibious aircraft B-200 emergency. Successfully continue. PD Technology Demonstrator Engine Test 35. Recently, he gave out a 37 T-thrust on a test bench, and thus, the most difficult stage of development is recognized as completed. Russia, for the first time in history, developed her own aircraft engine with top big pull. Here is the result. Hard work of our engineers in recent years, and he deserves a lot of credit. There's just no other country in the world which at the same time would successfully develop so many new models, aircraft engines, under all possible sanctions. And in the context of the ongoing military conflict, well, how did you make sure yourself? Most of the listed developments already at the finish line, and the question arises, what happens next? Of all the listed developments, only one, PD-35 engine, does not yet have a specific application. The plane for such a monster does not exist yet. However, creating a glider is usually much easier and faster than the motor previously suggested. That PD-35 will stand under the wing of the wide-body Silt 96. But we talked, that's impossible due to structural discrepancy, and easier to create a new plane with. This is the way it was decided to go. In Russia will be created as a new wide-body long main passenger aircraft and a new heavy military transport aircraft, but not under PD-35, and under the new engine based on a PD-26 thrust in 26T. Its designing already started. In general, on the basis of PD-35, a whole lineup will be created, high-power motors for different purposes, including working in the ground gas pumping units. What do we have in the end? Today we can talk about that country got not just a line of engines, but also its own updated, import-dependent engine school. Because each project gave us, along with the finished product, new knowledge of technology, factories' test benches, footage of new or updated aircraft and helicopters to the service system, and apparently, we are the only country in the world today owning the entire production chain in this direction, after all the same Boeings or Airbus, critically dependent on supply of components from dozens of countries, although they themselves are actively involved in sanctions policy. This creates risks not only for Russia, but also for all buyers in the world. Even China is flying Western engines today. And in case of aggravation of relations with the United States and Europe landing for a long time, that's why. Possibility of purchasing new Russian engines recently began to be discussed in the Chinese press. However, so far we have enough work in our own market. We really did in the last 5 years then. What seemed impossible to many. Now you need to not slow down. Move forward. We will keep you updated. Further announcement and story of the hero. This week, Russia and China confirmed intentions. The largest gas project in the world, the Power of Siberia 2, beyond all political and macroeconomic benefits. There is one more benefit for us in it. A new highway will connect gas. Many Russian settlements, who were previously deprived of such an opportunity, the lives of ordinary people will be better. But here is the news, which almost no one heard. High-speed highway from St. Petersburg, via Moscow and Kazan to Ekaterinburg and Tyumen will be extended to Novosibirsk and Omsk, and in the future will connect the whole country to the Far East. Means many of our cities and towns on its way will become more accessible and blossom. But the main intrigue is, what along this megatrack? Hundreds of unmanned trucks will go? Which one? Already cruising under experimental mode. And this is one of the most interesting and undeservedly neglected projects of the country. What is this done for when the driver disappears from the cab? Why is this not threatened with unemployment and allows Russia to strengthen its superpower status? Detail I tell in a new video on my author's channel by address sponsor.rusuper. Further about the hero. In the Republic of Mariel, local resident Alexei Ostroviev opened a family farm. More precisely, bought out part of the destroyed farm and started his business on it. Started geese, sheep, cows, and horses. Established the production of fresh milk, cheese, and cottage cheese for locals. Alexei's big family works on the farm. He has a lot of relatives, 4 kids and soon to be 5th. Plans acquisition, additional land for expansion, agriculture, and agritourism development. Overall, this is kind, but pretty common practice in Russia. Many are now engaged in similar projects. Unless you know Alexei's story, also known as Doc. Alexei Astafiev his first combat awards, including Medal of Courage, got still entering the Chechen Company, then past Syria, and with the beginning of his already volunteer, gone to do his duty. True now not scout, a medic. On his shoulders he carried 300 wounded soldiers from the battlefield, and was awarded the highest award of medicine, Loki and Kremen medals, and once single-handedly stole a T-72 tank from the enemy, but was wounded and demobilized, and after returning home decided that shouldn't sit, folded his hands and started farming. Other heroes are coming to him now, are trained in peace cause, and get so important and needed by everyone. Positive motivation charge. Wish Alexei Sergeyevich success in his work. And thank you for everything.